There are moments in history where the odds are so overwhelming, so impossible, that victory seems like a distant dream. Yet, against all logic, these moments became legends. Today, we're diving into 5 insane battles that, by all means, should have been impossible to win. I've always believed that in life, much like in these battles, we're often faced with challenges that seem too great to overcome. I've had moments where everything felt stacked against me, like there was no way out. But you know what? Just like the warriors in these stories, you find strength where you least expect it. One, the Battle of Marathon, 490 BC. The Persian Empire was the superpower of the ancient world. Their army was massive, well-equipped, and determined to crush the small city of Athens. On the plains of Marathon, outnumbered nearly 10-1, the Athenians stood no chance. But with strategy, speed, and sheer courage, they turned the tide of battle. Their victory didn't just save their city, it preserved the birth of democracy. What I love about this story is that it shows how, even when you're outnumbered, strategy and heart can overcome the odds. Sometimes, life hits you hard, but like the Athenians, you've got to hit back harder. The Siege of Vienna, 1683. Vienna was under siege. The Ottoman Empire, with its unstoppable force, sought to expand into Europe. Vienna's walls were crumbling, its people exhausted. But at the last moment, a coalition of European forces arrived to save the city. Against all expectations, the Ottomans were defeated. The victory at Vienna marked a turning point in European history. Sometimes, when you're on the verge of giving up, help comes from unexpected places. Just like in our own lives, when everything seems to fall apart, it's those small, unforeseen moments of hope that can change everything. 3. The Battle of Agincourt, 1415. King Henry V of England found himself trapped, deep in enemy territory, facing a far superior French army. His soldiers were starving, sick, and vastly outnumbered. Yet, on the muddy fields of Agincourt, the English longbowmen decimated the French knights. What should have been a massacre turned into one of the most legendary victories in military history. It reminds me of how, sometimes, we face overwhelming pressure. Everything is against us, and we're on the verge of collapse. But, like Henry and his men, we can find a way to stand our ground and push forward. 4. The Battle of Stalingrad, 1942-1943. Stalingrad. A city under siege, with no hope in sight. The Soviet defenders were cold, starving, and outgunned. The German army was closing in, and it seemed like the city would fall. But in one of the harshest winters, against all odds, the Soviets held the line. Their victory marked the beginning of the end for the Nazi invasion of the Soviet Union. Stalingrad teaches us that sometimes, the hardest battles are the ones we fight within ourselves. When everything around you is crumbling, you have to dig deep, find that inner strength, and refuse to give up. 5. The Battle of Midway, 1942. In the midst of World War II, the United States found itself at a critical point in the Pacific theater. The Japanese fleet was larger, more experienced, and poised for victory at Midway. But with brilliant intelligence work and a daring plan, the US Navy turned the tide of the war. Midway wasn't just a battle, it was a gamble that paid off and shifted the balance of power in the Pacific. Life is full of moments where you have to take a risk, where everything hangs by a thread. It's in these moments that you either rise or fall. Midway reminds me that even when the odds are stacked against you, a bold decision can change everything.